Great balls of fist. Wait a second. Daniel, what are you doing? Why are you here? Oh, wait, no. That's right. You're filling in today, aren't you?
Wait, you're not Jessica?
Oh, you're funny.
Yes, I know.
Hilarious. Opening up the show today, like I said before, we got our baby brother Daniel Johnson here, journalism student at North Carolina, Greensboro, filling in for Matthew. Matthew, had to get in, duty calls, had to work today. But yeah, so we got Daniel filling in for us today. He's going to be filling this, I guess, a few times when I got to work, when Matthew's got to work. So this is the infamous Daniel that Matthew always talks about. Opening up the show today is going to be the big story coming out of the sporting world with the passing of longtime ESPN analyst, TV personality, anchor, and just all around, from what I've been reading and what I've been seeing, all around amazing person in John Saunders. Saunders passed away today at 61. Daniel, there's a lot of things going on in the world of sports, but this seems to hit the sporting world a little bit harder than normal. What do you think?
Well, what I think is, first of all, that whole list of jobs and accomplishments that you made, you forgot that he was an active member of the Jimmy V Foundation, Cancer Foundation, for years. Which, even though we still know why he died, we don't know how he died. He didn't have cancer, as far as we know. But I think just watching ESPN today, and the fact that because I'm a big fan of His and Hers with Michael Smith and Jamel Hill, and how she broke down and cried talking about him, how he was such a big inspiration, and helped get their show off the ground, and help get them into the company. And at the same time, same thing on the First Take with Stephen A. Smith, him breaking down. John Saunders, like Michael Wilbon and like the late great Stuart Scott, he was one of those early ESPN journalists and one of those early African American ESPN reporters and analysts from the 80s and 90s that's become like a godfather in the industry and godfather on the network. And a lot of the younger generations of new new fresh faces on ESPN, they looked up to him.
Yeah, I could definitely think so. And I said, as a young journalist, I know I was looking up to him the same way that you said with Stuart Scott. Like, it's always tough, and you touched on it with a lot of the impact that he had on a lot of different African American reporters that are at ESPN now, but not only ESPN, but just in the world of sports, and then, honestly, the world of journalism. When you make that kind of impact you had, and I'm glad you touched on the Jimmy V Foundation, because I didn't know that he was a part of that foundation, let alone he was a board member, if I remember correctly, if I read correctly, a board member for many, many years. So this is somebody that had an impact not only in the world of journalism, but also in the world of cancer and cancer research. So it's a great loss. And I said I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Hannah Storm, the ESPN anchor woman, who always, it just seems like she's just put in these tough situations because she's amazing at what she does. But this is, I was reading an article from either the New York Daily News or the New York Post where they were talking about how it's been her having to break the news to us, the public, us, the sporting world, us, just the world in general, about the passing of two legends at the company. She had, in the past 18 months, she was on air doing SportsCenter when Stuart Scott passed away, and she had to break the news, and now she's on air when John Saunders was on when he passed away. And it's like I said, it's absolutely insane the way that it just seemed to have come out of nowhere. Like you touched on Jamel Hill, I follow her on Twitter, big fan of Jamel Hill. Same with the show that they have, His and Hers. And so I was following her, and she said, like, National Association of Black Journalists Convention was just last week, and she was like, I just saw him. So it definitely had that shock factor. I feel like it hasn't really sunk in for a lot of people, but he was a host of the Sports Reporter for so many years. But when you have somebody that has made the impact and really touched as many lives as John Saunders seems to have, and it obviously you can tell just from the pour of the outcry that came through social media, through television today, like you could tell that this man was amazing in not only what he did, but also the impact that he had on the lives that he touched. So he definitely be greatly missed.
And I said this for the past couple of years that ESPN is changing with a lot of people leaving the network. A lot of people are going to leaving, like Bill Simmons of Grantland, he leaving the network. Colin Cowherd going to Fox Sports 1 and Skip Bayless as well. And even in situations when they're not leaving the network and they're passing away, like Stuart Scott and now John Saunders. It's different than when I was growing up. Different from when we were growing up. That this ESPN is changing, and Saunders' death marks just another point where the company is changing. Gregg Marshall, the basketball coach of Wichita State University, and apparently also a man very inspired by Bobby Knight's tirades, will be suspended one game next year for the season over a preseason tirade in a Canadian basketball game with a referee. He ran on the court, got in the face of the referees he claimed were being unfair, and players had to hold him back. Who said the preseason wasn't crazy? Aaron, it's preseason. I'm sorry, but it's preseason. I don't see people getting this upset over a preseason game.
I mean, here's the first thing that you got to understand when it comes to college basketball coaches. College basketball coaches are the most untouchable thing in sports next to probably NFL quarterbacks, I want to say. And obviously NFL quarterbacks get hit, but when I say untouchable, they're almost above the law unless you're Tom Brady. And the reason why I say that is because getting suspended for, because it was personally, someone that loves tirades and someone that loves coaches going crazy. It was great. It was absolutely, he had players, he had coaches, he had guys from the other team moving back like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? So it was great on that aspect of it. But the thing that I really liked about the point I'm trying to make about college coaches is just the fact that they got one job. It's really just get to the NCAA tournament. And if you can get to the NCAA tournament, and if you can win a couple games, win a game or two in the NCAA tournament, 5 out of 6 years, especially if you're Wichita State, you're golden. I mean, granted, that might not work at certain blue bloods. Like, that's not going to work at Duke. That's not going to work at North Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky, where they're expected to win national titles. But at Wichita State, they just love getting to the tournament every year. So, and Gregg Marshall's already a little bit of a hero at that school, strictly for like just getting to the tournament and being the number 1 seed that they were a couple years ago with Ron Baker and Cle Anthony Early and Fred VanVleet, who felt like Fred VanVleet. Whatever. The guard who was there forever. The point that I'm trying to make is that this isn't really going to be effective. It was funny for us to watch. It was straight out of the Bob Knight, school of going crazy. But it's not. I said he's going to slap on the wrist. He's probably going to get suspended. Did they say what game? One game? Get suspended when they play some Division III SWAC team and beat them by 50.
It's preseason. Like Bob Knight did all this stuff. It was during games, like going to baseball. Weaver and Bobby Cox did this stuff during regular season games. It's preseason. I remember he talked about after the game. He said, "I'm sorry, I ain't saying," but he also said afterwards, and I'm paraphrasing here, that I felt my players were being treated unfair. I gotta be a guy to defend my players, and once I got out there, I gotta get my money's worth.
That basically was it. It wasn't. It did kind of turn into a money's worth kind of thing because I was waiting for him to kick the dirt and everything.
It looks like some stuff you see on a minor league manager that goes crazy. And granted, it is very funny, but at the same time, it kind of is intimidating and dangerous when a coach that no one likes a crazy person. Okay, and in that video right there, he was a bit of a crazy person.
He was a bit of a crazy person. It was still a good. I think that I get him saying, "Oh, I got to defend my players. Oh, I got to look out for my guys," and that's great for the team dynamic, and it's great for coaches or players trusting their coach and everything like that. But you have a point. It was preseason. They were in Canada, for God's sakes. It didn't really matter who they were playing at the time. I couldn't even tell you who they were playing. I don't think you know. I don't even know if those guys on the team knew who they were playing, to be honest with you. But
Canadians are so nice, Aaron.
Yeah, Canadians are really nice. Straight out of How I Met Your Mother yearbook. But I still think that this is definitely going to be a funny edition of, college basketball interjecting itself into the summer and as football's getting ready to start, interjecting itself into that aspect of the sporting world. I just think that, Gregg Marshall is a fiery coach already. Like I said, Wichita State has had amazing success under him, so this isn't going to really affect him. It's a little slap on the wrist. He'll take the game, and then next thing you know, they'll be in I think they play in the WAC still, so they'll be in the WAC state. No, do they play in the WAC? I don't know what conference they play in now. Think about it.
Basketball, that's all I know.
Yeah, they'll eventually be back in the tournament, like under Marshall. Now, if he has a bad season and he continues to do this, then it starts to be a little bit of a story because everyone only loves you if you're winning. Once you start losing and you become a headache or you become start doing some crazy quote unquote antics, That's when it becomes an issue.
I'm pretty sure every referee that has the Wichita State game will have a tape in their back pocket. That's my final words.
Rounding out the show today with, that guy. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL, and in big news out of the training camp has been the fact that someone hasn't been signed out of the NFL draft. And that's Joey Bosa, defensive end out of Ohio State, number 3 overall to the San Diego Chargers. The Chargers are the only team in the NFL, the only team, the only one's the loneliest number, to not sign their first round pick. Daniel, do you think something's going to happen with this? Do you think Bosa's mom came out earlier in the past week and a half saying that she wishes they would have pulled an Eli Manning back in 2004 when Eli said to the Chargers, pick me number 1, it's all nice, well and good, but I'm not playing for you, trade me. Do you think that they should have done that? And is Bosa going to get picked up? I don't know. Do you think?
Well, first of all, I saw that you always call me Matthew there, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You go, your brothers. It works.
And second of all, Cleveland, you're no longer the most dysfunctional franchise in the NFL. It goes to the Chargers. The soon-to-be 3-13 San Diego Chargers. The soon-to-be, if Phillip Rivers is smart, the soon-to-be get out that franchise, Phillip Rivers, San Diego Chargers. The team that has been relevant since Roy Schottenheimer got kicked out the front door because he went 14-2, and that wasn't good enough, apparently.
14-2, but you couldn't win a playoff game. The thing about it is, though, and plus, no, you couldn't win a playoff game. Well, couldn't get out of the AFC at least.
Well, now you can't win second or third place in your divisions.
I mean, Phillip Rivers loves San Diego, and I don't think he's leaving. But the fact of the matter is, he might not be leaving. The team might be leaving. San Diego, I think, has one more season under their current lease with the city of. The Chargers have one more year under the lease with the city of San Diego, if I remember that correctly. With being there, because they were supposed to leave at the end of last season. Now I think they were able to buy some time to get a deal, to work out an extension. They worked out an extension to get a deal done for either. I think I'm pretty sure they want a new stadium. Qualcomm's not bad. Qualcomm Stadium's not bad.
Trying to leave that on life support.
But going back to Bosa and how rough it is that he hasn't been signed yet. Bosa's a stud. He's got the potential to be Jared Allen. He's got the potential to be J.J. Watt. He's got the potential to be an all-time great at the defensive end position, at least in his time right now. He was the number 1 rated defensive player coming out behind, number 2 behind Jalen Ramsey, the cornerback from Florida State that ended up going down to the Jaguars. So when you look at Bosa, you're looking at somebody that could potentially be a perennial Pro Bowler, potential perennial All-Pro, and you can't sign him because your front office is dysfunctional. Who do you think is worse, them, the Washington, or the Browns? And when it comes to being dysfunctional, the Browns are kind of getting it together because Hugh Jackson's there and he's not putting up with no crap. But who do you think is more dysfunctional? Right now, I think it's the Chargers.
It's not even close. Okay, the Redskins made the playoffs last year and they got RG3 out the door. They moved up on the ladder.
True,
Browns,
very true.
They got at least a guy that could potentially be a good quarterback, and they're getting Josh Gordon. I guess to get him back after his dysfunction, but I know Hugh Jackson isn't going to mess with that. You're the Chargers. Your division consists of the Broncos, an amazing defense, the Chiefs, an amazing defense, the Raiders, an underrated offense with 2 young, soon-to-be superstars, Amari Cooper and Derek Carr.
I think Carr. I don't know about Cooper yet. I think the jury's still out on Cooper. I think he's going to be really good. I'm not going to say superstar. I think Carr's going to be good. I think Carr's going to be really good.
He's going to beat you in fantasy when I pick him up. But anyway.
Talks.
But anyway, you don't get any superstars because your franchise is dysfunctional. You have to draft your players. You get this amazing defensive end that could be all these rainbows and sunshine. And you don't want to pay him. I'm with his mom. This is why Eli didn't want to go to San Diego. It was evident back then this dysfunctional. It's evident today. Doesn't change. It's still San Diego.
I think
hopefully they won't move it out of San Diego because I know the fans really like the franchise, but at a certain point, it's LA.
See, I think I'm against you in a sense. I'm against you in moving the town this team out. I'm always against that. I mean, I don't know what I would do if. Even though we grew up in Connecticut, but I don't know what I would do if the Jets decided to, I don't know, move down to like I don't know, Alabama or something. Like, I don't know what I would do. If the Jets left, they were like, oh, we're going to build a stadium in Tuscaloosa. Oh, wait, there's already one giant stadium amongst this little tiny Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I'm sorry. I know that they have to tie it in. It's great. They got University of Alabama. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life driving on the highway. You're literally in a small town with a giant coliseum in the middle of the
city. I wonder where Alabama plays.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. But if the Jets were to leave, the Knicks were to leave, if one of my favorite teams, granted the Knicks and the Yankees and really ain't going nowhere, but if they were to leave, it rips you apart. If you live in Charlotte now, if the Panthers left Charlotte and decided to go out to California, it would crush that city. And I'm saying San Diego, they love their Chargers. That's really all they got. They got the Chargers. That's just they got the Padres, but Padres haven't been good since '98. But they got that's really it. And football is king right now in the country. So when you lose your football team, that's gonna do something to you. And I don't see another franchise getting ready to say, hey, San Diego's open, guys. Let's go down here. So I'm against them leaving. But you're right. This is way too dysfunctional. They got to get him signed. They got to get Bosa signed. They got to get him in the camp. I mean, we watched in the first episode of Hard Knocks, and this guy's not even in camp. He's not even signed. So I think Bosa needs – not even Bosa. I think the Chargers just need to get down, bite the bullet or whatever the heck they're holding on to, whatever grudge, whatever pride they're holding on to, and just sign this guy.
Dan Fouts is rolling up on his grave right now.
Well, that's all the Flambé we have for you guys today. It's raining here, and it's hot in here because we got Flambé. But I want to first of all thank Daniel for being on the show. This guy here, he's filled in for Matthew. He's probably going to be filling in for me or Matthew if duty calls. I got to talk to the executives first, see how they feel about it. But
yeah, just send my check in the mail.
But I know Daniel had a good time. I had a good time hosting with him. Matthew should be back on Friday, so don't worry about that. We'll get this guy out of here. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Continue to subscribe on YouTube. Like us. The button is going to be in the description below. That's where the button's going to be. You already know. Click it. Continue to donate to our GoFundMe page. We really want to keep getting, mics, lights, all that good stuff, webcam, so I don't got to use my computer. Yeah, exactly. Things like that. I actually don't know what you said. I don't know. I don't want to say. I don't know what he said. But again, thank you again for watching us. Continue for all the support. Thank you again for all the support. Again, RIP to John Saunders, and he's been, I said, you can tell from the kind of man that he was and the outcry that he got, like I said before, that he was a pillar in sports journalism, especially as young black men. He was a pillar for us, and I said he truly will be missed. That's all the show we got again, guys, and we will catch you on Friday. See you then. Have a good day.